If you were just in a motorcycle accident, there's a good chance that someone's already suggested, directly or indirectly, that you were at fault just because you were riding a bike. I want to address that right now. Being on a motorcycle does not make you a reckless driver. It doesn't make you responsible for someone else's negligence. And it certainly doesn't mean that you don't have a case. I am Asthana, managing partner here at Caldwell, Wenzel, and Asthana, and I want to give you an honest picture of where you stand legally. Right after the crash, if you're physically able, call 911 immediately. A police report is critical documentation, especially in motorcycle accident cases where fault is often disputed. While you're waiting, photograph and video everything: your motorcycle, the other vehicle, your gear, traffic signals, skid marks, the road, and any and all visible injuries. A key point here is to not discard your riding gear or your helmet. Hold on to those. Insurance companies often make arguments about how severe your injuries were based on the condition of your equipment. So preserving it protects you. In motorcycle accident cases, the physical evidence often tells a story, even more so than a witness can. And that evidence disappears quickly once the vehicles are towed and the roads are cleared. In addition to preserving your equipment, make sure to get every witness's statement and contact information. Motorcycle accidents are disproportionately blamed on the riders, and an independent account from a witness can certainly help when the claim is disputed. Even if you walked away and you feel like you're okay, get medical attention as soon as possible. Adrenaline is powerful. The impact of internal injuries, soft tissue injuries, or a concussion doesn't often surface until hours after the accident. Getting treatment right away helps you build documentation, a medical record that is tied directly to the accident. Insurance companies very often attack any gap in treatment to lessen the value of your case. One thing to be very careful about at the scene of the accident and days later is to not speculate about the accident and do not apologize. Be cooperative with the law enforcement, but do not give a recorded statement to the other driver's insurance company unless you have spoken to a personal injury attorney. You're not required to, and in Alabama, that conversation has a lot of risk, more than you realize. Alabama follows pure contributory negligence. That means that if an insurance company can show that you were even just 1% at fault in causing the accident, for instance, speeding or your lane position, you may recover nothing. The whole purpose of that recorded statement in motorcycle accident cases is to find that slight bit of fault. Here's what happens on the insurance side of the motorcycle accident case. The other driver's insurance company will investigate the crash with the assumption that the motorcycle rider bears some sort of fault. They look for your speed relative to the conditions, whether you were lane splitting, your visibility, your gear. Any of that in Alabama can be used to argue contributory fault. They may also question the severity of your injuries. Motorcycle riders are often portrayed as risk takers, and adjusters lean on that perception when they ask you questions in a recorded statement or when they're evaluating the value of your claim. Using all of these arguments, that insurance adjuster is trying to pay you nothing or very little. A low early offer before your treatment is complete and your full extent of injuries are documented is all designed to close your file as quickly as possible before you even know what your case is actually worth. We actually had a case where a motorcycle accident happened in Gulf Shores. The rider was blamed for speeding, and a TV lawyer that this client had called turned the case down for contributory negligence for speeding. Luckily, when we heard the facts of this case, we were able to negate the contributory negligence assumption of speeding and delivered a $900,000 settlement for this rider. One thing that motorcycle riders don't realize is that if the other driver has no insurance or very little insurance, the motorcycle rider can look into their own insurance policy under uninsured motorist coverage or underinsured motorist coverage for additional funds towards their case. That is a completely separate recovery source available to riders and worth identifying before you assume the case is not worth much. If the other driver fled the scene entirely, you may still have options through that same coverage. A hit and run accident doesn't necessarily end your case. It's also worth noting that not every motorcycle crash is caused by another driver. Road hazards like potholes, debris, or poorly maintained surfaces and defective motorcycle equipment can both create liability on government entities or a subcontractor or a contractor or a manufacturer. If something on the road or on the bike contributed to the accident, that is also something that we look at. Motorcycle crashes tend to result in serious injuries like broken bones, road rash, traumatic brain injuries, spinal damage, and in worst cases, fatalities. A well built claim accounts for all of it: current and future medical costs, lost income, lost earning capacity if the injuries prevent you from working, damage to your motorcycle and your equipment, and pain and suffering, including scarring and disfigurement, which are common in these cases. In situations where the other driver's conduct was extremely reckless, punitive damages are also available. At Caldwell, Wenzel, and Asthana, we know that working motorcycle accident cases is different because the bias is real and the insurance playbook is different. We start building evidence in these cases immediately, before the scene is cleared and before the other side has a chance to shape the narrative. We will work with accident reconstruction experts when the case calls for it. And we handle all the contact with the insurance company and their lawyers so you don't have to handle that alone. And we prepare every case as if it's going to trial, because the cases that settle for big value are the ones that are ready for trial. The filing deadlines in Alabama and Florida are 2 years from the date of the crash, and in Mississippi, it's 3. Don't let time work against you. If you were hurt in a motorcycle crash in Florida, Alabama, or Mississippi, call us today for a free case evaluation. There is no fee unless we recover, and your case should be judged on the facts, not assumptions and bias about the riders. We look forward to working for you.